Yeah, good.
Right, welcome to tonight's meeting of Bingley Town Council's Finance and General Purposes Committee. Have we had any apologies for absence? No, and I think everybody's here, 100%.
Full house.
Disclosures of interest. To receive declarations of interest from councillors on items on the agenda. Any? No. To receive any written dispensations, I presume we haven't received any written, and to receive and consider requests for dispensations as appropriate. So that's not. Minute 23, 24, 41 minutes of the meeting which was held on the 12th of July. Anybody got any amendments or changes?
Yeah. I'll propose them as...
Councillor Williams and seconded by Councillor Hesseltine, so they are approved.
Not yet.
Assuming that people vote in favour of this, and everybody has, so that's, I will sign those. 23, 24, 42, confidential items to be discussed. We've already got, which ones have we got? We've got the some issues to do with the hub in 54 and Christmas trees and the hub maintenance contract. Is there anything else on this agenda which should be moved into that bit? No? So we will leave the things as they are. Public participation is 23, 24, 43. Members of the public are reminded that this is an opportunity to speak to the meeting on any topic relevant to the work of the council. However, they may not speak during the rest of the meeting unless invited to by the chair. And just to explain to the members of the public here, you will be able to answer questions or say something about your grant applications, but that's the next item on the agenda. So do either of you want to make any comments on items not concerned with grants? No. Okay, so we will move on to 23, 24, 44 grants. Now it's Miss Dale from the Jerwood group. Yeah. And you, sir?
Martin Holsworth.
Oh, from the village, the Cottingley History Society.
Yeah.
I think the Bingley Camera Club one will need to be deferred again because we're just waiting for some further information.
Okay, so we will defer that particular one. Shall we go on the order of the agenda, Cottingley Village History Society? Could I perhaps ask you, sir, just to, obviously we've got all the papers, we've read all about it, but whether just do you want to make a short comment on what it is you're after and why, just so to summarise everything?
It's this projector screen which we use at meetings which take place every 2 months on various subjects. We've got, coming up in October, we've got the talk on the Brontes of Haworth. December we've got a talk on the pre-Raphaelites, and these are always accompanied by usually a film showing. The speaker likes to use a projector and a screen. Well, we haven't got a screen at the minute, we borrow one.
Yeah.
And we're applying for a grant to buy one, and we've been given permission to install that in the institute, so it'll be there permanently.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's for £358.
Yeah, that's the cost of it.
Any councillors? Councillor Williams?
Simple question, it may sound like a daft question, but are the meetings always held in the same place?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Councillor Hesseltine.
Yeah, just a couple of quick ones. Obviously you have a regular speaking booking. What sort of attendance is there particularly at that? And will other organisations be able to use this at the discretion of the hall?
Yeah, we probably about 30 to 50. and it'd be there permanently, so it would be of use, I would have thought, to other people who use the premises.
I think it's good to hear that your historical society is well patronised in a way, so that's
Yeah,
encouraging.
it's very popular. People from the village and further afield come to it, and it's well attended, and there's tea and biscuits afterwards.
Come in, definitely.
But the talks are very interesting.
The problem is you can't come because it's usually on the day when it's a council meeting. That's why I never go.
Okay. Well,
Councillor has final question.
Oh,
No, you're on. What you're indicating.
I was just going to move 358 the one.
Yeah.
Give him 358.
Right, I'll
Have
second
a
that.
vote on that,
Excellent,
and everyone's in favour.
Thank you.
So that is
excellent.
granted. Thank you very much.
Right, Mark.
yeah, thank you, Martin.
I'm sure our clerk will be in touch.
Yeah, actually,
Right.
if we use that room again, it'll be on the wall in that room where we've been using at Tottenham
So we
Town
might even
Hall.
be able to use it ourselves if we
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
Very good. So,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah.
Right,
You,
thanks a lot.
you don't
you,
have to
Martin.
stay unless you're
Unless you want to.
unless you're a masochist.
Thanks very much. We have a meeting tonight.
All right.
Well done.
Do you feel that way too?
Right, we move on to the application from the Jerwood Action Group. Ms Dale, do you just want to
Yes.
give us a quick intro?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I'm assuming you all know where Jerwood is.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit of a kind of a hidden corner.
Hidden gem.
Gem.
It's a really, really popular resource around the sort of Bin Street, Belgrave Road, Mornington Road area. And particularly since the council installed some new play equipment and different play equipment for younger kids. So we get a lot of kids coming up from preschool, primary, after school, and play there. So we're a very, very small group. We currently have 4 members. I think the most we've ever had is between 8 and 9. But in reality, there's not a tremendous amount to do at Jerwood because the council maintains the grass area and maintains the play area. So we're responsible for, there's like 2 raised beds and a big willow maze. The other thing about the area, it's a natural play area, and we're very keen not to manicure it. So there are brambles, there are nettles, it is a wild area, there's a wooded area, and we don't touch that because we're very keen to keep any kind of wildlife in that area. So, but this year there was a horrible pampas grass in one of the raised beds, and we decided to get rid of it. And when we did, we kind of had a look at the soil, and we realised that we haven't done any kind of work on the soil of the raised beds, and it was looking pretty poor. So we spent a bit of money that we had to put some manure on it and stuff. But in the long term, we want to do a bit more work on the raised beds. So we're looking in this application for money for shrubs, ground cover, wildflower seeds. And also in October, we have to tackle the willow maze. Which is a beast of a job because it just grows like topsy. And in the past, what we've done is we've tried to get local people to join us for a couple of weekends to help us. So this is why part of the bid is about publicity. I'm just wrecking your chair. To get some more people on those particular occasions to help us with the maze, because there's absolutely no way that we could do it just by ourselves. So that's about it, really. I think the applications, I hope it's quite clear the kind of things that we want.
And obviously it's a precise amount, so you know exactly what it is you want to do.
We've tried to cost it as well as we could, but as you can see, I have put in a little contingency only because everything seems to be going up, and we just wanted to have just a little bit of room, really, in case prices go up in the meantime.
And just governance-wise, is it that Cabad look after your monies?
Yeah, this is a recent arrangement because previously, I don't know whether, I think the organisation was called Beacon. I don't know whether you
Yeah.
remember them.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, but they kept our money for us because we're such a small concern. We really don't want to get into having our own bank account and stuff like that because in reality, in the past, we've applied for grants for very specific activities and we spend the money on that activity. So we, as you can see, we've hardly got any money to our name at the moment. But I've just arranged with Cabad to, keep our money for us, and they have a system whereby, we send in receipts and invoices to them, and they will give us our money back, if you see what I mean.
Okay. Other councillors, Councillor Williams.
Hello, Jane.
Hi.
Steve Williams.
Hello, Steve.
I've got 3 questions that shouldn't tax you too much.
Okay.
Bradford on board with this and you doing the work because
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, well, I know.
Simple question, really, simple. Because 2 of our fellows were Prince of Wales Park
Yeah.
members,
Yes.
friends of Prince of Wales, and Bradford know full well what they're doing.
Yeah.
So you're above the radar, as it were.
Yeah, we're definitely above the radar
Good.
because we see ourselves. I mean, if anything is wrong up there, Bradford
You-
Council
you're
is our
the
first port of call.
Yeah.
So we get in touch with the parks manager because if there's problems with any of the play equipment and stuff like that.
Okay, no, it's sort of more of a sort of self-interest question. Why Jo Cox? Remember Jo Cox, given she was Burster, wasn't she? What's the link there back to?
Oh, it's because in her memory they created this idea of the Great Get Together. So once a year.
Oh, it's for.
It's like a national.
It's a national
It's a
thing.
national
Yeah, yeah.
event.
It's a bit like the men's shed that puzzled me as to why it wasn't a women's
so we
shed.
decided to have a community event
Okay. And-
under that banner. Yeah.
Okay, that's good. And last question: Are you aware of this gentleman here does all the flowers every year?
Of course, I
Yeah.
love.
Are
Councillor
you
John
linked?
Good.
Are you linked in with that for your flower day?
Yes, absolutely.
Brilliant.
But
Yes, yeah,
John has been a great
Of
supporter
course
for us.
he is. I love it. Yeah.
And whenever I contact him, and I'm sure he groans when I do, he
Yeah.
immediately responds, which he did recently with some bark for us.
Yeah.
I mean,
His bark is worse than his bite, isn't it?
in terms of the plants, though, we're quite aware of not. Some of the plants aren't really the plants that we want up there, if you know what I mean. We want it to stay as a.
We started some bulbs this time.
Yeah, we've got some bulbs, which is lovely.
Yeah.
But yeah, we like to kind
They've
of.
been on the
keep it-
list. They've been on the list since day one. And
Yeah,
had
and we
plans
come
in
to the
past,
green and
but, yeah.
clean meetings, which I think are really helpful to us.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Councillor Hazelton.
Yeah, it's good to see local folk getting involved in their local area. Familiar with Jerwood, very much so with various issues over years. But if anybody else is minded, I'm quite happy with £382 and happy
second bit again,
planting.
then.
Okay, shall we go to the vote then?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I just got one question which I'll ask you anyway, which seems you're not going to get many gardening gloves for 20 quid.
Well, no, but we're looking at places like not Poundland, is it? It's yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
okay.
looking at B&M. I had a look at B&M and some of them are for kids, you see.
Well, you've
so-
got a little reserve.
We don't want to reopen it.
No.
I know. I mean, we've already got some stuff, so we don't. Yeah.
So we had a vote, and as far as I can see, everybody is in favour,
Yeah.
so we can deem that the grant has been agreed.
Fabulous.
Thank you.
Thank you very much
Thank you
indeed.
very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thanks.
Right, we'll move
Yeah,
swiftly
Okay,
on
love, take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
to allotments 2445 to receive an update on allotments and to agree any actions on the following. So it may be that in some of these items there may not be much to say, but if we quickly skim through them,
Is there an agenda? Are you using that? Sorry.
the allotments forum, I understand that took place recently.
Oh, cheers.
Councillor Heseltine, do you want to say something about the allotments forum?
Well, I first of all would like to thank
Number
the
one.
2 clerks for doing an extraordinary great job, as well as Mr Heseltine. When we first got there, shall we say, it was heated, there was a simmering undertone of displeasure. But by the time we'd finished, which is very positive what I'm going to say, we ended up with a whole load of smiley faces and happy people.
Very good.
So well done to those 3 people in particular.
And congratulations to all involved on that allotment group for having a positive outcome to that.
It was a pleasure to be there.
Great stuff. Okay, so we note that. Consider need for plot renumbering at Beck Lane. Anything?
Yeah, well, while we were wandering round and we've got a map and it was damp and trying to work out where some of them are and some of them end and wherever, and particularly with the clerk for the allotments, Deb, going round. Just having that identification would be easier for communications with us in the future. It was thought at the time. I think what we need to do is ask her to go away when she's back off her little jollies and get some ideas on sort of costings.
What do you think of putting a post with a number?
Post with a number.
I'd agree with.
Just in one corner.
I'd agree with David there, because I'm doing it on Parish Online, and when you see that one gets down at A and B, and then it gets 1A1 and 1B1, and then if we divide again,
I think two things about that. We've tried this in the past and asked them to do it voluntary, so I think it's a good idea if we provided the sticks and knocked them in or whatever. What was I going to say? Oh my Gideon, John. Move on. I think it'll come to me.
That's a plot renumbered.
Do we need to renumber them at the same
That
time?
was
That might be a sensible idea, but we continue to split plots.
Yes.
That is the issue. So we might end up with 9 A, B, C, D.
Yeah,
It's just that one B. It could be just one B, one A, one B, one C, one D. Instead, it's one B1, which I think is a nonsense, and I think
it does need a little bit.
But it was passed on to you when you put it on Parish Online. So
I did, as I was told.
I'm just saying. So is that worth considering? Just
we'd ask
rejig it with Debbie.
Go back and have a look at it and get some ideas for us.
I think we could all agree that. To consider the need for a gardener handyman at the Beck Lane.
I think gardener handyman's maybe a different play on words, but actually there are some areas of the allotments which are unattended, and yes, there might be wildlife areas, but they're actually now starting to encroach and get too close to allotments. There's also, and it's on further on, plot 23, the potential communal allotment area, which needs to be maintained while we get that sorted or seeing where we're going with that. So it was sort of suggested that we maybe look for a general gardener type, handyman type, to basically just come in and do some brush trimming.
Right.
Why don't we employ a contractor to do it?
Well, that's it. I don't mean employing anybody ourselves, but actually, we find a local gardener handyman we want, particularly over summer maybe. Once a month they come and have a trim. Over winter they don't need to do, but we need to sort of bounce that and think.
And you can look at plot 23 as well, yeah?
Is F&GP happy with that? And then again, that piece of work can be done, and then we can come back with costings, and then you'll either be happy or not.
We've actually identified somebody that will do this periodically, because obviously it's not a full-time issue, it's just probably once a month and not in the winter period, because it doesn't need doing.
That's what I'm going to ask about, some sort of specification, it's because you're going to have a couple of prices, aren't you? So it's how often and what the job is, isn't it?
I think if we establish the principle that we're going to look at it,
I think
that gives.
I think you should definitely look at it.
some more time to work out the areas, and we can have a chat with the allotment holders, because we do want to leave some wildlife areas, but we don't want brambles just taking half of the place over. And
I think we've got to be cognizant of the fact that if anything's vacant, it's our responsibility to keep it clear, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you know, I note that the number of councillors in the room have done huge amounts of work on the allotments in recent months, but we can't expect that is the routine thing.
No.
I mean, obviously it's great when colleagues can do stuff, but we can't have a situation where they have to do
not at
stuff.
all. No,
So,
I agree 100%.
I see this is no different to having a tree surgeon there.
Exactly.
Work needs doing.
Okay, so the proposal's been made by Councillor Hasseltine, seconded by Councillor Hood, and that we're basically asking our admin officer to investigate and bring back. Okay, so we've all agreed to that. Okay, to receive an update on rate payments, vacant allotments. Anything to report here?
This sort of ties in with the splitting letting of what's 1B, 178, etc. That's a bit further down. 14A and 14B are now let. 7A, 18A and 18B are all let. So it's just 22, isn't it, that you've just...
We need to we need to put markings on the end, and we also need to split the other one at a path which we've agreed on, but it just needs a couple of posts in. But the other week it was absolutely tipping it down when I had spare time, so it might have to wait.
Is that 18?
I think it is.
It is 18.
I can take you to it, but
they've been let.
They've been let, but they know where the path is.
Yeah.
But I think if we still need to put a marker stake in so that they're aware.
So the only one we've got to let at the moment, apart from 1B1, which is the one that's completely full of mare's tail, is 22. And I think we're completely up to date with the rest.
Oh, wait, because last month we were a number short.
I think we are completely. The new people paid straight away.
Yeah. So everybody's paid.
Yeah.
So what number do you say it's been done?
22.
Oh,
Mayor's Town.
Didn't I know it?
No, that's 1B1.
That's 1B1 is mayor's.
There's no 22 on here, that's all. The 23? Is there? No.
Yeah.
22.
22's that one that was really overgrown.
Overgrown,
and
yes.
It backs onto the fence, doesn't it? 'Cause that's
It's the one with a funny angle on.
Yes.
Oh, right.
It's the one where you fall down into 23
into
as well.
Okay. To consider the need for an updated asbestos survey at both our sites.
I think this comes from this site survey we did at Beck Lane, and one of the new tenants at Stanley Street who'd moved basically a pile of rubble which had seemed to have been there forever and a day, and one of the previous tenants had nicely dumped a lot of old asbestos garage roof sheet under it and hidden it. By the time we got there, one of the other allotment holders had given him some bags, and he got himself a set of gloves and a mask, and he was going to bag it and then come back to us for trying to get it disposed of. While we were at Beck Lane, we did notice one of the sheds particularly had an asbestos roof which looked a little flaky in places. I think Debbie was going to go back and investigate the last asbestos survey and see when we'd had that, and do we need to redo that in the light of this asbestos being more weathered maybe than it was before.
What will they do with that? Just treat it, spray it?
Some you can treat, some they'll have to shift. Depends on the asbestos.
At the cost of the tenant?
Well, I suppose if the tenant put it on, yes, but and I would imagine that one might have been even let by Bradford Council because it looks to be an old property. It might have been let with an asbestos roof on, which...
I think it'd be our cost, wouldn't it?
If they've inherited the shed roof, then it should have gone with the previous tenant.
And it goes without saying as well, David, you're not going to find stuff that's buried because you wouldn't get a surveyor digging
No,
up
no, no,
the
no.
stuff.
This is no.
Just visible.
Yeah. This is the
Just
guy
that's
happened to move a pile of rubble.
yeah.
So you're
much of a
suggesting
problem.
this?
We need to, what?
Are you proposing that we get a report done?
Yeah, Debbie would have a look at that. We're going to reassess it, and I think particularly that bit need.
So are you going to bring it back when you've reassessed it?
Reassess the plot.
Okay,
Yes.
and
Particular
Andrew, you're going to second it.
Yes.
presumably? Good. So the proposal's been made, and everyone is in favour. Okay, to consider a request for a skip at Stanley Street.
This again is one big allotment that was split in two, loads of waste. You couldn't expect anybody really to pay for taking away.
This is
Absolute-
presumably the rubble that was covering the asbestos.
Some is rubble, some is masses of old chicken wire, old pallets, you name it. There's 2 new tenants and 1 existing. The 1 existing is quite tidy, the others have got an uphill struggle. And it may be something that we need to consider for a couple of the new tenants on Beck Lane as well, is there's that much rubbish on some of these sites that folk have left that we try to liaise, and maybe, you know, within Eve's ability to spend money of a certain level, I think rather than having to come to F&GP every time we need a skip, is that it's left to the discretion of Eve.
I thought we had an annual skip.
There is,
Anyway.
but it's difficult. But if we have 3 or 4 bad allotments and we want somebody to take them, do we then want to wait another month for F&GP, or we actually appreciate
I think
there's a skip needed?
I think
Councillor Good, then Councillor Williams.
only problem at Stanley Street is where you put the skip in
You
there.
put it down that drive. If we arrange it correctly, it can be dropped in the morning, taken away at night. Because what we don't want is folk filling it up with all that
This is what I'm saying. Yeah,
that could be done. There's this place to put it where the tenants shove all their bins round there.
Yeah.
If you tidied those up, you can get a skip in. You
in,
wouldn't foul the footpath.
No,
And
obviously
if
you'd have to
anybody
liaise
moans,
with
it's
your
tough.
people to
To
get
tenants,
it to fill it in a day,
Yeah, we'd
wouldn't
have
it?
to have the stuff ready and job done.
What size skip are you talking about?
Well, it'd be a little.
Midi.
Yeah.
So
So
if we could contact the 2 allotment holders, or 3 as it is now, at the time when it's suitable for them,
And get it dropped.
and just get it dropped.
get it organised and done.
Yeah.
Okay, so
If
we,
everybody's happy with that.
Councillor Williams, we haven't.
If I'm right, there is discretionary funding in the financial regs for the clerk, but there's a list of things that it can be spent on, and it's things like broken windows, roof leaks, water leaks, boilers, emergencies, not allotments.
But the skip, it was being agreed previously that.
If it's been agreed previously, it's been agreed, isn't it? But I'm saying you don't have discretionary fund for almost anything. It's got to be.
Oh yeah, it's got to be something.
You a ring, didn't I,
legitimate,
Philip, about a skip?
But
I rang you about
rather
it.
than waiting another month,
Oh,
we need one, do it.
Okay,
and then we're not
so
back
again,
to
the
that.
proposal's been made, seconded
Seconded.
by Councillor Fenton, and all in favour of getting a skip to Stanley Street. To receive an update on, I don't know whether we've already
We've
covered
had
this.
that one,
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
One B1 that we haven't covered.
Yes, 1B1, the Mare's Tail Nightmare. Again, Debbie's going to go away and look at potential things we can do with that, whether it's chemicals, whether it's abandoning it for a few years with some
membrane
on it.
Rent-free period was discussed.
Rent-free has been discussed.
Because of the amount of work that would have to be carried out by the individual.
So I think we'll eventually come back with some ideas on this one, but it's only from 27th of July, and then she's happily done that and then gone off on holiday.
So what's actually wrong with the plot?
It is absolutely full of mare's tail.
And it's a invasive weed.
Nasty. It's all over the allotment.
It's not only full of mare's tail now. It's full of bindweed as well. But that's
so
annual.
So it wants digging out.
Yeah, but you can't.
Well,
dig
you
it all
can't.
out.
It's been here since dinosaurs. You'll never dig it
It's
out.
one of the deepest rooted plants in the UK.
Can't poison it off, then
No.
you can't.
Well,
You can do chemical treatment. You might.
Yeah.
We might even at one point say, you know, we're never going to get it back right. We abandon it, but we manage it at the edges and we cover it in something.
The
use
problem with
Agent Orange.
abandoning it is it will spread to others.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I think
it
it
is, yeah.
needs a control rather than an abandon.
Yeah.
Abandon maybe is not the right word. Not use it as an allotment.
Fallow.
Fallow, that's the one.
So do we need to agree anything now on
No,
this?
because
Yeah.
Debbie's
It's been
going to come
looked
back.
at,
Yeah, Debbie's come back.
And I think we need to have a degree of flexibility on these sort of issues when things have to be done. We can't every minor allotment issue.
we
We
can't
don't
come
we
back
don't
from.
want to have
No.
agreement here. We need some flexibility so some of these things can be moved on.
Has 1B1 got a tenant or not?
It had, but they cleared off very quickly
So
when they
this could
realised how
be linked in with the gardener handyman thing we talked about 10 minutes ago, wouldn't it?
potentially to keep it at bay, but long term
It will be let.
we need to do something to try and control it. But we need to look at those options.
Okay. Have we already discussed 23?
Plot 23 is the potential communal
Yeah.
plot, which will need significant amounts of work to be done to actually bring some costings and viabilities. So I think that's not a back burner, but it's going to be a longer process. The idea with the handyman going round, he could keep that under control because that then splits to 22 or number 2. So we need to be mindful that that area needs to be kept in check.
The major problem with plot 23 is actually access, because obviously to make it into a communal plot it needs a significant amount of work, as David's rightly said, but obviously machinery would be needed, and to get it there at this moment in time, because some of the allotments at the side have utilised the wide paths and nothing can get down, so there is an issue with that.
Did that come up at the forum?
No, but
It
somebody
came up
sent
in the
an email,
inspections.
didn't it?
Yeah, it came,
yeah.
it was the inspection email to several plotter holders.
One wasn't happy that we were asking him to move a load of things blocking the.
It's just
Right
simply to
away.
do it by hand wouldn't be practical or economically viable.
So that roadway from the main road down to the bottom and the access into the wooded area at the back, if we had any major contracting to do in that woodland or anything like that, you wouldn't be able to get anybody there because folk have encroached, and it wouldn't be so bad if they actually kept it neat and tidy.
So
It
what
isn't,
did we
it's
say in the inspections then? Are we unencroaching? Are we claiming it back?
I think we were going to write to them and ask them if they could remove some of the materials which they'd put there, and some of it's been there 20, 30 years, it's historical, some of it. And I think what we might be getting is that when these people have taken the allotment, it was already there historically, even though it shouldn't be there.
Yeah,
we haven't
I'm
maybe
sure
been as
from
rigorous.
conversations I had with Jen, she said that used to be the path down
Yes.
to the back. So
There obviously is an email and it does identify a particular allotment. Maybe if you can redact some of that and then maybe share it with F&GP about somebody's frustrations about us asking him to move off the access road.
Can we not sightline it and say,
Well, there's a map and
yeah,
some
no,
of them
I
are
get that,
just
but obviously they're ignoring it, so can we not put a white stake at the top and a white stake at the bottom and say on that sight line, like John and I did in the wood, to say that's where that line should be and we want you to reinstate back to that line.
but we had a bullshit email.
Yeah, and that would include turf in or grass seed or whatever.
Or Mr. Handyman keeping it straight.
Well, as long as we know that we've inflicted the line on, about 10 of them, wouldn't it be, down that line?
Yeah, there's about 3 or 4 that.
Yeah, there's not that many.
No.
Is there?
Some of it's actually passable rather than to try to cause upset just for the sake of it.
I don't mind a bit
There's
of
two
bending
at the
about.
bottom which are a severe problem where you can't actually
Down
get past
to a
with a wheelbarrow.
wheelbarrow if you look at it.
No, you need a mini digger down there. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's going to be a long process, is that one?
The final item on allotments is this correspondence we received, or you received, Eve, as town clerk, somebody, a member of the public, said that they were on Bradford Council's waiting list for allotments, and obviously then the thing changed to Bingley Town Council's control. But apparently, due to some either administrative error or what have you, that name wasn't transferred onto our list. And I think the person presumably was on the assumption that he was on our list, and then
he wasn't on the assumption that he was on the list at all. He got in touch with Bradford Council, yes, and they informed him that they no longer had. Yeah. He thought he was still on the list. I've spoken to the fella. He emailed me because he'd seen on the website or whatever that I were involved with allotments. I've spoken to the fella. I've seen the application. As they say, it was a paper application at the time in 2008, and I believe what I say. And I've spoken to him and asked him several questions. For example, was it because he's already turned an allotment down, etc., etc.? And he said no. So I believe what he's telling me. That's all. That's what I'm saying.
So I mean, it's clearly an unfortunate situation if this has happened.
Yeah.
What's the remedy? What?
Well, can I a possible remedy for this? And it might kill two birds with one stone. It's just something that came to me, and that is. That's the one.
I'll second that without even thinking about it.
Yeah. Explain.
Well, offer him 1B1.
Offer him 1B1.
Fine. Great idea.
Mare's tail.
Seconded it.
However, where does that leave him if he turns it down? Where is he on our waiting? We have got a 6-year waiting list.
Right at back.
And we've shut it, haven't we?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, Stanley Street we shut.
Stanley Street.
Chair,
Okay.
he ain't going to turn it down.
Ah, right.
But are we thinking if he was on the waiting list, he'd be somewhere near the top by now from 2008?
If he was historically, because Eve said that on the bottom of the list were about 2014, was it?
2014 was the.
So he's well before 2014.
So next available one's 1B1.
As I say, I've spoken
Are you
to.
proposing this?
I'm proposing.
I'll second it to move things along.
Because
that go for it.
What happens if he refuses 1B1?
Goes to the bottom of the list.
Well, our policy says we offer 3,
Chair.
which means
he's not going to refuse it.
Okay.
I can assure you he's not going to refuse
I think we've
it.
got to go on what Mr Good's saying.
Yeah,
I'll
let's
second
go.
it.
Yeah, we can dilly-dally all night.
Careful, Andrew, careful. Don't be agreeing with me.
Gentlemen, lady.
I am concerned that we're setting a precedent that all you've got to do is say Bradford have lost it.
But he's got evidence. That was my question. Has he got evidence?
To be fair,
It's got an application from 2008.
Can we have some order, please?
It's got an application form that from 2008. Anything could have happened between then and the time the list came to us.
So
I believe it's evidential that I believe what it says in front of me, and it's written and it's on official
this
note paper
situation
from
is not going to happen frequently. I think we have to take it that this is an exceptional thing, and take into account what Philip has said. It does. I think we're not setting. I think we have to say we're not setting a precedent in these particular circumstances. I think what's been proposed we should.
We've used our discretion.
Okay. So, and I think. Well, put it to the vote again.
1B1.
And it goes to the bottom of the list if he turns it down.
Yeah. So on that basis, are we all in favour?
Yeah, let's go.
And we are indeed.
Let's do it.
Good, says your vote.
20, 23, 24, 46.
Sorry, Jeff, can I just add something that came in after I'd sent the agenda out? The new people on plot 14B have requested if they can put a shed up on it.
We'll go have a look.
6 foot by 6 foot.
Yeah,
it's a standard.
It's on what they call it.
Can we refer that so I'll get back to you by Friday?
Yeah.
It's
this week, just to see if it has any.
It's in. I think it's in allotment policy that you can have up to a certain size.
Just want to see where it
shed.
is. That's all.
No asbestos. No plastic sheds. Yeah.
No polytunnels.
No, having spent weeks carting a load of plastic out at place, we just don't want more plastic imported.
Well, Chair, on this, so you've got a load of mare's tail that you want to get rid of.
Yeah.
How do we get rid of that?
Well, we did
Because you can't compost. Well, you can compost. You can compost it if you put it in like in a barrel of water and just let it rot away, and then you can get feed out of it. But initially, you can't put it. You know, you can't compost it because it's non-compostable.
Isn't that the problem of the guy who takes the
Yes,
rockets?
yeah, you can take it to council green waste where it will kill it.
I mean, I think we'll have to leave that.
Fine,
for now,
okay,
yeah.
fine,
I think
fine.
the technical issues of how to get rid of that,
Yeah.
I think, is a different
Atom bomb, I think.
different matter. But anyway,
He'll be assisted John in getting rid of it.
Right, okay.
but just say we agreed that Councillor Fenton, I think, would just have a look just to check that the shed would be okay, consistent with our policy.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Now we'll move on to the various bank statements to consider and approve bank reconciliations for July 2023, which have been circulated.
Can you just confirm there's 3 of them, please, Chair?
Yes.
Or Clerk? The CCLA, the CV1 and the multi-pay I'm looking at.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's all right.
that's fine.
Do we want to take them individually?
Or
Or unless anyone's got any particular comments, if we take them as
Do
the
them
3
all together.
separate ones.
Proposed, Chair.
Proposed by
Seconded.
Councillor Williams, seconded Councillor Truelove, so those
All
are,
in favour.
and we're all agreed.
Yeah.
Okay, to consider and approve bank statements for July 23.
Can you confirm we've got 2 of them, please? The one that says July bank statement, one is the public sector deposit fund.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
So can we
I'll propose them, because there's no
propose
movement.
Councillor Truelove, seconded Councillor Good, are we in favour? Don't we accept those?
Do we have to record the amount that's in it in the minute?
That's
That's next.
That's next. Ah, that's next. Okay,
Alright.
jumping ahead.
So we've approved the statements and now we're noting the bank balances to date to note at the meeting.
So the Unity Bank balance today is £183,243.15. The public sector deposit fund is the same as it was. So we agreed a couple of months ago to move 150,000 from Unity to the public sector deposit fund.
We did.
So I've received the form, well I received it when I was on annual leave last week. So do we still want to move 150,000? Because there's only 183,000 in the Unity.
Why don't we move 100?
120.
Maybe some working capital then.
120.
And every time we have
Yeah.
to move money from one to the other, you have to fill in a form, don't you, the signatories?
Do we?
Yeah.
Well, that's not a big job, is it? How much do we spend on a month? Well, on average. Would 80,000 carry you through for a few months?
Yeah.
Oh, well, let's just move 100,000.
Yeah.
Is that what you're proposing?
That's what I'm proposing.
Second that.
Okay. And those all in favour, so that
It's
is
making a bit of
agreed.
interest now. They're like nearly 600 this last month.
Oh, yeah, well, like interest, yeah, that's what I want to move.
Item D, to receive feedback on the recent internal controls meeting for Q1. Don't think there's.
It's a
Toilet
document,
cash.
isn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah. Accepted.
Well, I think
Have we?
I don't think we're being asked to do anything other than to
Well.
receive the feedback.
Yeah.
Just out of interest, have we bought a money wire? Have we?
Nicola's got one actually.
Oh well, okay.
Nicola already had one, so she's trying that out.
Money bags.
Okay.
She donated it.
She's just trying the process
trying
out
it out,
really
yeah.
to see if it.
So we've received the feedback. There's no further action on that. And E, to note the Rialto's summary of the Q3 budget monitor, which I, Councillor Gibbons.
I honestly, it's just so we can keep an eye on the run rate that we are going through effectively. And I think there's a couple of things that crop up out of here. one of which is we still don't seem to have got our PAYE and national insurance sorted out. So I know last year we were way off on we were okay across the top three, the salary, the PAYE and the pension, and we tried to balance it out appropriately. We still look to be way off on PAYE, in that we've spent 34% of it in the first quarter.
And why is that?
That's the question,
Yes.
really. Do we know why that is? And then
We'll have to look into that with payroll
yeah,
and find out.
I think perhaps that's one of the issues perhaps can be brought back to the next meeting so we can answer that.
and then the other one really is line 4481, which is the allotment costs, which is why there's this one on the table, because I asked for it.
I haven't got that one on the table.
Because
3,000 and we've got two.
Sorry.
Yes. So I was spent by 900.
well, effectively.
Oh, I've got that already.
That's the running budget, and we do have a separate allotment reserve, which is how much is it? Do you have that?
About 15,000.
It was about 15,000. So I think from this nominal ledger here that there's 3 items on it that come out, effectively should be coming out of the reserve, which is the top one, the tree work.
Yeah.
And then it's a couple of the skips, because that was work to clear plot 27.
Yeah.
But this doesn't have on it the invoices that are coming through for plot 27, does it?
Is there anything coming through for the schedule of payments? That is up to the end of July.
So this month's schedule of payment has an invoice for 1,200 quid, isn't it?
For
The diggers
The
and things of that
digger
nature. You ask for it all in
yeah.
bits.
so that will be on the August.
That'll be on the
Yeah.
So together the 3 on here plus something that we think is coming, the 3 on here come to 2,966.66 if you take the 2 skips and the top one, 2 of the skips and the top one. And we've got something that's about 1,200 quid to come through, haven't we? So I think we need to be borrowing £3,200
Absolutely.
from the allotment reserve to
There's
that.
just over 10,000 in the allotment reserve. I just checked it.
And
Yeah.
indeed, that's what it's there for.
Yeah.
Proposing that.
Proposal.
I am proposing,
Second.
I'll
but
second it.
we'll have to send it to full council because it's
Yep,
borrowing,
no
but that
problem.
needs to be our recommendation,
Okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we're
no
all
problem.
in favour of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else of any real concern on there.
No. But the PAYE thing is an interesting
It is,
conundrum.
we do need to get better at understanding what we're in line for.
Understanding
That'll
our
be a
costs.
timing issue with the payments that we do. We put money on reserve with them.
What's that?
We
Yeah.
pay them in advance, don't
Yeah.
we? So that's what it'll probably be.
It is a bit of it's not an ideal system.
Don't work out straight, does it? They take money in advance.
It works out at the end of the year with all of it together, but like you say, it's not.
Yeah, I
it's
thought-
not good
I
to
thought
do.
we'd-
It looks out, doesn't it?
I thought we'd got it where we
Yeah.
thought we'd got it almost nailed on, and it doesn't look like that to me. So.
Well, don't they make a claim on it? Don't they just say they want so much money every so often?
Yeah, and
They-
we pay 3 months in
Yeah.
advance.
And we in advance, yeah, of
Yeah.
course we are. So that's where we are there.
Yeah, but we generally do for salaries and whatever as well, so you would expect them to be broadly similar percentages, and the PAYE is significantly above the others.
Well spotted, and something which I think we should
Pick up
follow
on,
up
yeah.
and clarify. So moving on to 23, I think, 23, 24, 47, the business cases. Now the documents have been sent round, and these are the amended documents. Are they? Councillor Williams, you looked at this. Is there anything you particularly want to add to what?
Well, I can point you to the changes which were in the paragraph on the top of page 2 of the project and business case guidelines. I haven't changed the pro forma. I was trying to make it clear that we really should be agreeing the heads of terms at the beginning for the working group or whoever the councillors are that are going forward to it, that is what the council are seeking to collate, because the problem is you don't know what the project is at this point in time, just sitting around this table. So, you know, there would be a different set of headings for, say, a roof-mounted solar panel than a new building. So, you know, they'd be totally different. So what I'm saying here is this first stage of approval should include the life cycle cost headings, not the cost headings for replacement of servicing costs. And then you can say, right, okay, that's what you need to go and get, which removes this thing about the CP toilet said a full business case, and there was a debate about whether it was or it wasn't. So that's the key change there. The other comment I would make is my flowchart ends at the bottom, and I don't know whether that's an Adobe thing or on this particular one, or it's an Adobe thing on the one that we're going to put on our website and use. So just it's.
I'm sure we can fix it.
I'm sure you can. Yeah.
Okay, so Councillor Gibbons.
I've got one question, which is the second, that bit that you've changed.
Yeah.
That next paragraph.
The next paragraph.
Well, the next sentence, sorry. You say you're talking about a risk and resources form. So are you expecting everything to have a risk and resources form, even if that risk and resources form is effectively for developing a business case for something? Because I thought we were either doing one or the other, and you've got both.
I don't think I added that.
You did.
I think it was already in there, was it?
No.
Oh, it's definitely in there. Well, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, the risk and resources form. Well, I don't know. I'm open to discussion there. The risk and resources form.
So that's what you said before. That was
Okay.
all it was.
Oh, and I'll take your correction. But the risk and resources form has a lot more in it about staff time, CO2 at the moment, sustainability, length of working group and things like that. So, yeah, I don't know. Options appraisal, risk and resource, are they one and the same thing? Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, I was suggesting for bigger things we did one, and for smaller things we did the other. Not that we did the smaller thing first and then we went on to the bigger thing. But I'm easy either way. It's just more paperwork, and as we know, people want less paperwork rather than more paperwork.
We don't want to complicate things, do we?
I think this is an absolute nightmare. I don't know. I don't know. It's just me, but I just don't get it. What is the form if you want? For example, we're going to want some more Christmas lights. What happens then? Do you put a risk and resource document in? Does that need a business case?
No. The Diane Brown's recommendation was where the thing is new and the council haven't done it before.
Right.
Because I took this up with her, and she said, obviously you've done Christmas lights for the last 7 years.
Yeah.
It's not a new thing. It doesn't need a re-evaluation.
Right.
But the CP toilet was a new thing.
Yeah.
And therefore,
Right.
so if we do another CP toilet,
to me, it's something that Mark said from day one on this, and I agreed with him. It just seems to be making things so complicated.
Making it doing more than we need to do. Is it within our sphere as a small council? I mean, it's more for council.
But I assume that when this situation occurs, the council will be able to consult with the clerk and you know, to get advice on what the appropriate process is to be followed, if there's any lack of clarity.
So it's in place, basically.
I was told in no uncertain terms, with a big stick, that I could not go against the advice of our external auditor.
Yes.
And she was recommending a business case.
She was.
Business case it will be.
She was.
You know, but what that business case is,
Well, they can do.
that's what we're debating, is what is the business case.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
But what we've still got here, which came up at full council, is what these thresholds are. So this very flow chart says if it costs more than 25 grand, it's a business case,
Yes, yeah.
which seems reasonable. To
Oh,
know.
right, okay, oh, well,
And then
then that
if-
changes things
And then if it costs,
markedly.
and then if it costs more in the first year than 10k,
Right.
we have a business case.
Right,
so
right,
whether
okay.
that one's,
That helps.
you know, whether that one's pitched at the right level is possibly open to debate. You know,
Yeah,
Well, it
okay,
depends
that's
what
good.
you want to
That's,
do,
I
doesn't it?
appreciate that. That's,
and anything
I
under that would
understand
be
it better
would
now.
be a risk and resource.
So
form.
that's it, yeah.
Do we not need to mention the risk and resource form in it, given it's written in the flowchart beneath, and therefore you need to give it a tap to the forelock above. That's what I'm saying. Otherwise, it's just not included in the process.
But the way you've written it,
Well,
it says
proposal.
you're doing a risk and resource form.
Should also detail.
To detail the risks and resources required to gather the information which follows for longer projects. It's the ongoing maintenance and service costs. So you're saying you need a risk and resource form for that.
Delete that sentence then.
Can I just
The
make
whole
an
sentence.
observation? We talk about risk and resource, and we say up to 10 grand. But just taking an hypothetical situation at the moment, but if we were to change the type of lighting that we had, like for the Christmas trees, rather than having an actual real life Christmas tree, we could actually get an artificial illuminated tree, which would be more ready to be accessible. You wouldn't have the hassle of having to order a tree from wherever, and you're looking at about 12 to 16 grand if we wanted to go down that road. So if you had that case, where would that fit in your scenario?
That'd be a business case.
That definitely
and
be a business case.
because then you'd have to be
because
looking
there's-
at where we're going to store it,
where
who's
it's
going to
gonna
look
go,
after
yeah.
it, who's
And
going to
arguably
maintain
it's
it.
something new anyway.
Christmas
It's
tree.
not the
Stick with
same
Christmas
as
tree, forget it. It's not going down that road.
So, taking Philippa's point, should we not just delete that entire sentence, because the risk and resources form is dictated use in the financial regs anyway,
I think that might be better.
and then we see how it works.
Yeah.
But do you want to propose that?
Yeah, and then it's just if we're happy with that 10k limit, because we're saying if something for implementation, not ongoing operational costs, costs more than 10k,
Right,
do we have a business case?
right.
And do we feel that's the right level? Do we think that's too low?
It's relevant to the project that you're looking at, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it is. If you're buying something, that's a fixed amount, then why do you want a business case for it? If you're doing a development, that's a different kettle of fish. Where you're employing several trades to do something, that's probably a different ballgame.
But 10k is not it's still a significant
It is,
sum of money
it is.
for a small council like us to
Well, it
be
is, I mean,
spending.
It's
Yeah,
more than
yeah.
50% of most of our budget lines.
Yeah.
I was arguing that we should have had a business case for the SIDS, which was 10,200. So that, and I was just told that we'd already agreed that before Diane Brown made her comment. So that was the.
Well,
We can get
Cut
too
down
bogged
that
down
one.
with things.
well, should we
you
leave
and Dan
the limits
you
as they are? Because it's not obvious what the right answer would be.
So I'd say suck it and see, Jeff.
Yeah.
So are
Are
you
we going to
proposing
propose
we
on
delete
that
that
then,
and move on?
Chair?
I
Chair?
propose we do it like risk and
Seconded.
resource sentence and then
That's crazy.
And we're all in favour.
I don't get
Of
it.
an
That's okay.
amended.
Yes, so thank you, Councillor Williams, for
Yeah,
looking at that.
good.
23, 24, 48, the website. Is there any further update on the website work?
Only in a verbal update. I've had a look at the Shipley one, which was the one promoted by the admin officer. And one of the things for me is we need some clear way of storing supporting documents. You might remember that we had supporting documents on there to allow Joe Public, when they're watching the YouTube, to look at the supporting documents that we've got here that are not the ones that are private, but the ones that are in the public domain.
Otherwise, some of the discussion won't
Well,
make sense.
there's
to
no
people.
way for Joe Public to actually close the gap between what we're looking at and what they can't see. So I'm a great fan of having the agenda on there and the supporting documents, just to be on there. Maybe as the YouTube video goes on, the clerk or admin officer puts the supporting documents, and they need to be clearly tied to the agenda they refer to, and they need to be archived in accordance with. So it's a new process, because at the moment we don't do it, but neither does Shipley, as far as I could make out.
Do we actually have a design for a website?
Well, we were just saying there's three options, and here are the ones. Here are the councils that are using the three different designs. But myself, Philippa, and Debbie do need to have a meeting about it.
I think our whole staffing team, wasn't it? And
I understand.
And Michael.
And the new
Yeah.
councillor.
Yeah, councillor Forrest.
So we need to meeting.
3 clicks and get
We need to,
information.
Okay, right, so with that's an ongoing issue. 23, 24, 49, green and clean.
Right, so we've got a community litter pick this Saturday, based down by the rugby club. It's an area that a couple of our volunteers have. You came to the last one, we did one there, Steve. Still, apparently there's still plenty to go out there. And now comes the bad news. Unfortunately, we've put all our plant orders in, and the contractor's gone bust.
Oh.
So I've had only yesterday.
Have we paid them anything?
Pardon?
We haven't paid.
No. It's through Bradford Council.
Oh,
it's the council contract that's gone bust.
It's the contractor that's gone bust.
Yeah,
Who Bradford use it.
Who supply the plants.
to Bradford.
So all I've had is I've had a telephone call from Mel Smith saying this is bad news. They've gone bust at the weekend. He's ringing round. So I've said to him, he's going to keep me posted. He's going to keep us posted. Hopefully, has he written to you?
I spoke to him this morning.
Oh, is it right?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah. So what I've said is, look, if we're in that situation, so people are ordering specific colours, etc., and I'm saying this. No, that's more or less what I'm saying. I'm saying they're all gifted. You do your best to get us the number of plants that we've ordered, and we'll sort them out with and initially write to all the groups and put them in the picture what's happened. If that's
presumably, John, this is a Bradford Met district-wide problem.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But if they've gone bust, are we going to get our plants? Will there be an alternative provider?
This is what I'm saying. No, so Mel Smith's ringing round to new other growers that supply plants to try and fill the gap. Yeah. So that's where we are at the moment. But
He did emphasise to me, though, he probably did to you as well, that the cost may increase.
That's the inevitability.
Availability.
It is, because
if it's a big firm that's gone belly up, there'll be every council in Christendom looking for them.
Yeah, there will, yeah.
Well, if it's anyway, so that's where we are on that. And then the other thing that's on the agenda were forums. Just basically, I would be interested in running more in the future. It's just trying to get a sort of a speaker, and I'm looking at the things for that. And I've asked Debbie to look at something, but I understand she's on holiday at the moment. But so that's going forward. But I still think they're worth doing, and we'll do them if we can arrange them. We'll do so.
Okay, that's fine.
And if you want to. I don't know whether I'm speaking on the next one or not, but there's nothing to speak on.
Okay, so
really
23. So there's no further news on the self-funding issues. In which case we can leave it till the next, unless Councillor Heseltine wants a question.
Yeah, part of our deliberations was service level agreement. This is about the third or fourth time I think I've asked when is this going to arrive for us to peruse. We really need to get the finger out at Bradford and give us one.
Well, I think we said at the last meeting, and Philip had been to a partnership meeting. I was assured that I think I had it read out to me that it was going higher up in Bradford Council to be approved. Did you get that impression? So that's all I can say. And as regards costings. I left it with Bradford Council to get costings, new costings. So that's where we are. As far as
I've not heard anything about the grant that they.
No, and that's another thing, as Mark rightly said, the last meeting. If and when the grant comes through and there is refurbishment, obviously any electricity will have to be worked in with the new project.
But anyway, I don't think there's much more to
No,
discuss
no,
about
at
that
all,
now,
no,
so
no.
we note the position.
We're not running out of time on the SIL funding, are we?
No.
Plenty of time left, have we?
August, yeah.
Well, some of it's got
Some
to
of
be
it has
spent
to be
this,
spent,
this financial year.
Right, so
Yeah.
that's what we've got to do. That's what we've got to be mindful of, isn't it?
Yeah,
So we don't let that go, do we? Because Bradford will just catch it back, won't they?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
They'll claw it back,
Might
so
have to spend it on something else.
we want to find something to spend it on.
yeah. Okay.
Okay, 23-24, 51 risk management to identify any new or unacceptable levels of risk to the council and amend the risk register accordingly. Any suggestions? None,
Not
so
aware of any, no.
we will move on. Just to note the date of the next meeting, 13th of September. Exclusions of press and the public, to resolve that members of the press and the public be excluded under the provision of the Public Bodies Admissions to Meetings Act 1960 during consideration of items of a confidential nature. I propose that, and Councillor Clough leaves the room this week.